So let's talk about the Orlando Magic. So the NBA is filled with so much talent now that it's to a point where those bottom feeder teams, those rebuilding teams, the better teams at that can just run over. You can't do that anymore. We're past the days of the 7-win Bobcats and the ultimate tanking teams of the Sixers and the Cavs that lost 20 straight games. No, we're in a new era of NBA basketball where each team has elite level talent that can give them consistent play on a night-to-night basis. And talking more about rebuilding teams, I mean, the most exciting one to watch, I believe, this season has definitely been the Orlando Magic, as they have so many storylines to talk about. Despite their record, despite what the team might look like, they are still pretty competitive on a night-to-night basis. I mean, we look over their last couple of games and these are some either great wins or very close losses. I mean, they just had a 3-point loss to the Nuggets. You have a 4-point loss to the Jazz. They beat the Trailblazers. They beat the Warriors. They had an 8-point loss to the Grizzlies. They beat the Thunder. 3-point win over the Celtics. I mean, over the past month, these are some really quality wins, and it's for a team that a lot of people just kind of look over in terms of how their roster fits, in terms of their type of play, but it's not like that. This Orlando Magic team is scary, man. They're definitely scary, and I truly believe that they're on their way to building a dynasty. But let's talk about how they got here. Let's talk about the pieces on their team, and let's talk about their future and why I believe this team can be the next NBA team to run the league for a decade plus. The Orlando Magic really lucked out this past NBA draft. They got the #1 overall pick, and with that pick, they used it on Paolo Banchero. Very happy they did that because the consensus for most of this year was Jabari Smith, and there's no slouch to Jabari Smith. I feel like he's going to be a fantastic player, but I think Paolo is definitely in another tier. The team just made a lot of moves to really gut and condense their roster, and those were the biggest keys to get them to where they are right now. That Nikola Vucevic trade was really great for them, as they gave up Nikola Vucevic. They got back Wendell Carter, who you can argue is a better center right now than Nikola Vucevic was, as well as another first-round pick from the Chicago Bulls. And they just stockpiled assets, stockpiled picks, and that pick that they got from Chicago, they used on Franz Wagner, who, man, he's a stud, bro. We're going to get into him a little bit later in the video. Other trades include picking up on Markelle Fultz, who was essentially a throwaway from the Sixers. His time with the team was very, not so good. Unfortunately, he sustained an injury that I don't think anybody in the NBA has ever sustained before, but he's really rejuvenated his career now in Orlando. So they've been doing what any tanking team has done. They're stockpiling as many young assets as they can, and now they're getting to a point where it's time to formulate an actual team, probably get another top pick this year before building what I like to think of it as a super young team, because the young talent on this team is insane. So let's get into that. Like I alluded to, the #1 player, the top guy, the franchise piece for this team is Paolo Banchero, who they took with the #1 overall pick. Paolo Banchero is a 6'10", 250-pound phenom, man. I mean, he's already an elite level, 3-level scorer. I'm going to say it, elite level. On the year, in just his rookie season, at 20 years old, Paolo Banchero is averaging 21 points, 6.5 rebounds, and 3.8 assists per game. And he does it all on offense. He's pushing the pace well, he's playmaking, he's scoring in the mid-range, and over the last couple of weeks, he's been very efficient from the 3-point line. He's drawing contact, absorbing contact, finishing through contact, and most importantly, he's getting to the free throw line a lot, and he's making his free throws. I mean, he's attempting just under 8 free throws a game, and for someone in their first year in the league, that is insane that he's getting that whistle already. The fact that he's this good so fast is very, very scary for the NBA. And his co-partner, his co-star, his partner in crime is another 6'10" wing and Franz Wagner. Now, for me personally, I was pretty high on Franz Wagner coming out of Michigan. The downside for him, though, was that not only was he a foreign player, and for some reason the NBA hates foreign players, but he was like a jack-of-all-trades type of guy. I mean, there was not one real thing coming out of Michigan that he really excelled in. I think that was a slight issue. I mean, there was nothing really that popped. You know, he had the length to be a great level NBA defender, but the athleticism wasn't there. He wasn't really that great of a shooter, but as we can see, it worked out for him. And very early on into his NBA career, he showed that he was well worth the pick that he was. Actually, he was a steal of a pick. At the 8th overall pick, if we're doing a redraft, he probably goes top 4 or top 5. At just 21 years old, he's already a 20-point per game scorer, and he's doing it at an efficient clip. He's averaging 20 points per game, just under 4 rebounds and 3 assists, shooting 48.9% from the field, 35.8% from 3, and 85% from the free throw line. He's not turning the ball over too much. 2 turnovers a game is nothing nowadays. Let's be honest. Everybody turns the ball over that much. And the duo of Franz Wagner and Paolo Banchero is the wing duo of the future. I mean, they just complement each other so well. And obviously, this duo is what's most talked about from the Orlando Magic, but it's so much more to this team. In last year's draft, the Orlando Magic had the 5th overall pick, and with that pick, they took Jalen Suggs. And it's kind of confusing or kind of hard to really judge Jalen Suggs as a player so far. You can't really go and say that the Orlando Magic made the wrong pick, because Jalen Suggs had just came off an undefeated season, though they did lose in the championship, okay? But that's neither here nor there. He was the catalyst for that Gonzaga team. He was the lead guard, so the pick made sense. He drawed some early comparisons to like Alonzo Ball, or some comparisons to Drew Holiday for his size, level of defense, and his athleticism. So far, he hasn't really been able to showcase those traits too much, but the biggest problem for him has definitely been injury. And the scariest thing is that it's been a lot of lower body injuries. Towards the end of last season, he had a stress fracture in his right ankle, which needed surgery to fix, and now he has another ankle injury, and these injuries just piling up, and at such a young age, it can be kind of scary. We'll see what happens with him. I'm still kind of high on Jalen Suggs. I hope he can have a successful NBA career, because at the bare minimum, he can be like an off-ball player, an off-ball point guard that can just focus heavily on the defensive impact of things while France and Paolo cook up on offense. But if all things fail with Jalen Suggs, it's okay, because guess what? The team still has Markelle Fultz. Now, it's crazy that I'm talking about Markelle Fultz right now after just talking what I talked about with Jalen Suggs with all the injury concerns, because Markelle, of course, has injury concerns of his own, but at this point in his career, Markelle is more farther along than Jalen Suggs is. Obviously, Markelle has more of an offensive impact. He's more of a playmaker. His shot is getting there, you know, slowly but surely, and I like Markelle Fultz. I really hope this is a piece that the Magic look to keep beyond this season, beyond next season, for the foreseeable future, because he can really provide some great play for this Orlando Magic team. And then how can I forget about him? Wendell Carter Jr., man. Wendell has broken out with the Magic. I mean, over the last 2 seasons, averaging 15 points in both the seasons. His rebounds are down this year because, of course, Paolo came through, but he's still like a 15, 16, and 10 guy. Personally, I would like to see him be better as a rim protector, because coming out of Duke, I expect him to be like a rim protecting, you know, athletic, running big, and he just hasn't really been the rim protecting part. In his NBA career, the most blocks he's averaged per game was in his rookie season with 1.3. So, and the question still bowls, is he a center? Is he a power forward? Because he has shown the ability to step out and hit the 3-point shot. So I think as a weak side rim protector, that could be a plus. But then again, the Magic have to find their center of the future, because it's not Mo Bamba. Obviously, I think Mo Bamba's gone after this year. And it's not Bol Bol, but we can talk about Bol Bol for a little bit. Bol Bol has really rejuvenated his career with the Magic, and it's just a simple fact that he's getting opportunities. That's all that it comes down to. Bol Bol is finally getting his chance to shine, and he's taking full advantage of it. He's averaging 12 points, just under 7 rebounds, a block and a half a game. He's shooting the ball efficiently from 3. He's shooting the ball efficiently, period. I like Bol Bol as a depth piece for the Magic. I think he definitely can be like a 7th man for them moving forward. And they got other pieces on the team like RJ Hampton and Caleb Houston and Chuma Okeke and Emerald Schofield, who gets minutes here and there. Jonathan Isaac, who's been injured for the last 2 years. When he last played basketball, he was a legit defensive player of the year candidate. He's just now getting back into the G League swing of things, so we should see him on an NBA court, I would believe, in the next month or so. And that's big, because that's another trade piece that they could have. Gary Harris, another trade piece that they could have. Cole Anthony, I believe, is one who should be moved. Terrence Ross. And then the biggest thing is going to be this year's NBA draft. As of right now, the Magic currently sit as the 13th seed in the Eastern Conference and have the 5th best odds at the #1 overall pick. They get Scoot Henderson or Victor Wembanyama. Just chalk it up, bro. This team's going to be a dynasty. But can you just imagine a 5-man lineup of either Markelle Fultz or Jalen Suggs? You run Franz Wagner at the 2, Paolo Banchero at the 3, Wendell at the 4, and Victor Wembanyama at the 5? Can you imagine a lineup of Scoot Henderson at the 1 with his athleticism, his playmaking, his shooting ability, his shot creation, with a Franz Wagner, with a Paolo Banchero, with a Wendell Carter, and whatever they want to do at the 5, or if they want to move Wendell to the 5 and have whoever they want to play at the 4. But of course, we have to get there first. And to triple down, I guess, at this point, even if they don't luck out to a top 2 pick, the core they have right now is still exceptional. As long as you have Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner on the team, the sky's the limit, man. And I really cannot wait to see what this team is able to do, not just this offseason or next offseason or next year, but for the next 5 years and for the next 10 years. Because if I'm being honest, man, this team lucks out in this draft, I'm seeing a couple championships in their future.